Hello and welcome to Football is Nice with me, Russell Brand, and Gareth Roy.
Hello.
We're wearing jumpers this week. Why?
Cold, isn't it?
That's right. And Jenny May Finn is the producer of the show.
Hello.
Well done, nice lean in.
Thank you.
In this show, we talk about things that are related to football, our experience as football fans, and we elicit your opinions and your content too. Give us a little review on iTunes. Join in this beautiful adventure through football, this whimsical wander that we make. Wayward travellers, wanton wanderers, Wolverhampton. I don't know why I go into alliteration. I don't really like it, generally speaking. But we've got quite a lot to talk about, because obviously I think like every week since we see each other, like 5 people lose their jobs and really dramatic things happen. I mean, is it like Rangnick week?
It's Rangnick week, yeah.
Did you like? So we've got that to talk about. We've also got our question of the week. Roy Keane and Jamie Carragher had a massive row about Cristiano Ronaldo. What's the biggest row you've had over football, and how did you make up in the end? We've got our results of our football prediction competition, which I've started to like for some reason, and we've got reviews to read out. And then just our observations over the week's games. We're not going to have a guest. Some people think it's better without a guest.
Yeah.
But think of some of the great guests we've had. Cotty, Seaman.
Barnes
Barnes is coming on Under the Skin, my other podcast. I'm doing a live shows. People of Scotland, you asked, I responded. I'm coming to Scotland. I'll be performing in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Nottingham, which I don't think's in Scotland, but it's just a new date I'm doing. Blackpool, Bristol. So come and see me live if you want to. You can come and see me live. That's a possibility. Now let's get into the content of the show. What are you mostly thinking about?
Snow.
Because of the snow, like in City, West Ham?
Yeah, it's always one of those, isn't it, when it happens every year that you'll get a snow-covered pitch on at least 2 or 3 fixtures, and it did happen this weekend, didn't it?
Because West Ham lost, I've not watched anything. And I weren't well. I've not watched any football.
Hang on. You weren't well, so you didn't watch the telly?
I don't know why that was the response. I weren't well.
That's the prime time to watch
Exactly,
television.
Jen.
Right. I don't know what I was watching. Oh, I'll tell you. this is the truth. Now, I'll stop lying. I weren't well, that's true. But what I did do...
Have you been well?
I've never felt better. I got unwell. And what happened is that as a sort of, look... There are the psychic forces in our life of which we are conscious, like who we say we are, who we believe ourselves to be, our conscious actions. Then there
started early, hasn't it?
Then there are
done about 3 minutes.
Unconscious psychic forces that govern us as well. When I'm ill, I revert to a childlike character.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And what I've done was I started playing Football Manager on my phone. I didn't mean to do it, but I'd started, and I played Football Manager quite intensely until a warning came up. The game's obviously obligated to tell you, look, this is our problem. Our job is that you play this, but even we're saying, back off.
Yeah, even we don't need you to play for this long.
We're scared of you now. Because like what it is, as I've told you before, if you play the game, like what happened, you can play it so that you just get offered a job. Like you start off, you can pick a club. You can pick West Ham or Hull, as you would obviously do.
Yeah.
Or I'm performing in Hull. That's another place. Come and see me in Hull. Let's face it. What else is there to do? No offence. What are you going to do? Think about Philip Larkin, play the French horn, all the things Gareth does, the things of Hull. Anyway, so I just didn't have a job, but I did, you can pay for an additional package, and a lot of people will be against this because it's cheating, really, that you can pay a package whereby, you get loads of money.
Oh, I see. That's a cheat, surely.
It's a cheat, really. It's a cheat. So now I'm a rich, but it's the same as what happened to Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or City.
Yeah.
Or any capitalist enterprise, really, unless you've earned it through honest toil. But even then, there's probably all sorts of advantages. But anyway, so the point was I bought that. So it means I'm when I do eventually choose a club, I go in there with a lot of advantages. Arsenal came a call in, couple of games into the season. They sack Arteta. Mikel Arteta's a sack.
But hang on. Now, I've never played it, apart from when I was at uni and I had a really old version of something like this. But you've paid to be able to have the right to buy lots of players.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make you a better manager. So why are Arsenal coming in for you?
Look, mate, my reputation speaks for itself. Put your medals on the table, because in my first season, I won the Prem with Arsenal.
Okay, so it's not like you bought this amount of, you have this amount of money to spend, but you transcend to a high level manager. You actually have won stuff.
I won it as a result of the. Look, there's no doubt.
Okay. Well, they all do. How would Pep do with Burnley? Would he win the title with Burnley?
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. I signed Erling Haaland.
Of course you did.
I signed Mo Salah. Liverpool were gutted when he left, but I
just
did
signed
it
a new
anyway.
contract.
I even, and this is, I'm ashamed to admit, even in the digital realm, signed Declan Rice from West Ham and took Declan Rice away from it. It's not real.
No.
It's only the word Declan Rice written on a phone.
But does it still...
If it was bad, it was
It
wrong.
does,
It really
doesn't it?
affected West Ham's season negatively. I normally only will be West Ham, but I don't know, I fancied doing it. Anyway, I won the league, and it took up a lot of my time, and I was so immersed in the game. That's the problem with me as an addict. I become so immersed in Football Manager that nothing, including real football and my own children, matter.
Right.
Like, because it just locks me into a world of like this sort of low-level numbing stimulation.
But also paired with the fact that West Ham did lose.
West Ham, then like, you know, my mate was watching it live somewhere. I guess he's in America, Nick Ortner.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, he goes, beautiful to see the snow, even if West Ham are behind. And like the City West Ham game weren't on BT or Sky, right? And I just thought, I really thought we might get that. I really thought we might get a point out of it.
Well,
it seems like it was close.
It was close. Yeah, it was close.
So anyway, I'm back now. I'm better, and I will recommit myself to, you know, watching actual football and not living in a land of make-believe like a juvenile.
You just did the David Seaman podcast immediately before this.
It was so lovely to see his big, jolly, giant face. His face is so nice. It feels like it's like a beanbag. You could go sleep on David Seaman's big face.
Yeah, I imagine. Anyway.
No.
Yeah, he's lovely, isn't he? And
he came on here. He was a great guest.
He was a great guest for us. What's his podcast setup like?
It's a gang show, I'd say. There's like 5 people. It's a gang show. It's a gang show, and he's got a patter act with a female producer called Lindsay.
Oh, I see.
And 2 blokes. I didn't really spend too much time inquiring. I'm familiar with what happens in these situations. You immediately deduce, what is this? Like when I went on, like, say, a Conan O'Brien podcast a little while ago, I go, oh, I see. This is one then where there's other people.
Yeah. What do I need to give to this?
What do I give to this? And I do the usual thing, you know, just I ended up talking too long about meaning. Wondering all the time about...
That's why they book you, mate.
To talk about meaning.
Of course they do. They know what they're getting.
They're going to get some meaning.
Did you get any tips for our podcast that we should bring over to our side? Or
No. Nothing.
Did they have a set? Was there a nice backdrop?
No, it just looked like a Zoom call grid.
Okay. Oh, fine. All right.
Seaman is the centre, the beating heart of the show. That's what you get. Is you get David Seaman's able to say, "Oh, I got sent off." The only person who ever sent off was at Upton Park. He clotheslined Trevor Morley when Trevor Morley was through on goal, and Seaman said that he went to the referee and went, "I know," and just wandered off.
Oh wow,
that's pretty cool.
That's
isn't
pretty
it?
Cool.
I like it when someone accepts the sending off.
Yeah,
it's a nice sort of when they don't protest it, they just think this is reality.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with it. Hey, so should we talk about something like... So
let's
that's
talk
what
about
I've
some
been
stuff
doing.
then.
We've got to talk about Rangnick. Of course we've got to talk about Rangnick. Do you like saying his name? Is it a name that you enjoy saying?
Yeah, I do quite like it. It's also Ralph as well, isn't it?
Ralph
so
Rangnick.
The alliteration is there with the manager.
And you've got this sound in the middle. In the middle of a name.
Yeah. I made a bad joke to my mate who was talking about it a few weeks ago, and I said, I thought that was an Avengers film starring Thor.
Ragnarok.
It just wasn't a good enough joke.
The problem is that no one knows how to pronounce that Ragnarok Thor. It's a bloody good film, that.
It
actually.
was good.
It's directed by, what's his name in it? The New Zealand geezer who's well funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I always forget his name as well.
Yeah.
Waipi or no.
Taka Waititi.
Waititi, that's it, yeah.
Taka Waititi.
He's
That's
amazing.
a nice name to say as well. Anyway, so Rangnick, I see a clip of him, I think, at one of them Red Bull franchise clubs, because that's what he does, isn't he? He goes from Red Bull to Red Bull.
Yeah.
And he went through it with his player. I don't know what he was doing, right? But he's having a go. You should see the YouTube clip, because he was saying, like, Manchester United fan or players, they can look forward to this. He turns off the light.
Wow.
He turns off the light, so the dressing room goes dark, and he's like, come on, let's do this. Although German people, actually, as my uncle once said, like, no matter what they're saying, it does seem quite intense. Maybe that's a cliche, but also
maybe, yeah.
In this instance, Rangnick was he was going for it with these lads.
I think he does have that reputation. He's the original Klopp, isn't he? He's the godfather of the German press.
He's the Klopp father.
He's the Klopp father.
Right. Yeah, he said, and I watched this other thing. He says there are 5, I love analysis. He goes, there's 5 things that are happening in the game. Either you're in possession, they're in possession and you're trying to get it back.
Yep.
Dead ball situation. And then there's the transitions. Those moments of transitions. And there's another one. I can't even remember what it is. So is
that the one 8 seconds between having the ball and losing the ball or something or whatever that is? Is that you?
He might have gone that deep, Gal, but I couldn't follow him to them depths.
Right.
Like if you're doing drugs with Keith Richards, there might be a point where you're like, Keith, I can't go there now, Keith. That's it. You found my limit. Keith, are you still going? Yeah. This is not enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I actually feel nervous and sick. I'm thinking about my mum and stuff, and thoughts are happening that I can't control. Keith, I don't think about my mum, Keith says. I'll just plough on.
Crack on.
So I didn't get into the 8 seconds or what those transitional periods are. But, it's always when that whole Moneyball phenomena come about of how analytics can revolutionise a sport. It was, because football is as commonly understood to be a lot of open play. It's not sort of like baseball where it's like set pieces and it's manageable, or cricket even. Like people say, it can't be done with analytics, but as the power of tech increases, now it is. You can sort of say, no, that's how much how much every player's run, how many passes are completed. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Everything diagnosed. Our machine-like society is making us more machine-like. And I guess those kind of, this is the point we're at. He sort of said somewhere in this video I was watching, you'll never get now teams win stuff that aren't fully in able to recognise that 30% of goals come from set pieces. So you've got to be masterful at set pieces. One of the things that West Ham have been doing brilliantly up to now. Hey, and later on, tomorrow I'm going on Mikel Antonio and I think Callum Wilson. It's a really sort of surprising podcast that I'm going on.
Oh, wow.
Mikel Antonio show.
That's exciting.
I know. I feel a bit more nervous about that.
Yeah.
Because I've got I've met Mikel.
But he's an affable.
He's lovely on Match of the Day, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or Sky, whenever.
Callum Wilson, extremely handsome.
I think it was Callum Wilson. It might not have been. Right. It might have been I sort of only half heard that name.
Yeah, so Rangnick, it's all the kind of talk really is about this kind of clash of mentalities, I guess, is that you're bringing someone in who's like the Uber or certainly original Klopp or Tuchel or something, who's all about hard work. It's about the pressing, the hard work. It's about you don't have any carriers you don't carry anyone on your team. And you've got a situation at Man United where I think certainly a lot of the frustration with the fans is that it seems like we've got some passengers here. We've got people who are luxuries potentially. I don't know if that extends to Ronaldo. I don't really know what the thinking is on Ronaldo anymore. I mean, Carrick left him out initially against Chelsea and they got a draw. So I know obviously that is how the kind of Carragher-Roy Keane argument came about. It's like, do you play him? Don't you? He has to start, you can't build a team around him, all this kind of stuff. But
it was an amazing argument.
It was an amazing argument.
I was so surprised to see Keane on that side of the argument. If you think of what Roy Keane normally represents, Roy Keane normally represents sort of endeavour and graft. And I suppose what he's saying is that you can't leverage arguments against Ronaldo because the stats speak for themselves. He's not like he's not scoring.
Yeah.
You've got to leave him in. The ball falls to somebody. Who do you want to fall to? He went up into quite a high register.
Yeah, he went really high. They both
argument.
did. To be fair, they both did.
They went into high registers. Yeah, it was a really high-pitched flute row.
Yeah. And it was, incredible entertainment.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant to see. Sometimes I would just look at Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's legs just to take the pressure off. That his thighs filling the suit between Carragher and Keane rowing about whether or not Ronaldo should be in the team. But it included the revelation that United are a cup team now.
Yeah.
United aren't competing.
According to Keane, yeah.
According to Keane. And I think that's an interesting analysis.
It is, yeah. So it will be fascinating to see what happens.
Souness says Rangnick's a mistake. He went
actually
on
gone that
Talksport.
far.
He goes, this geezer comes in for 5-10 years, does the infrastructure of a club. That's not what Man United need. Man United do need a quick fix. I also heard this person come on like a caller, and he goes, there's no such thing as long-term appointments anymore. It doesn't exist. If you don't win, that's it. There is no long-term project. Forget it. You've got to see results immediately. He said, like, what's going on at Man United? There's no forward. There's no centre. You've got 9 wide players and no centre forward under the age of 36.
That's pretty good analysis.
Yeah, it was a pretty good analysis. And like that midfield, like the Matic, Fred, McTominay deal, everyone sort of says that's an issue.
I mean, it's again, like we said last week, it's the continued soap opera of Manchester United. This week, it's like, oh, they've made the perfect appointment. They've finally pulled it out of the bag. Man United now have made a brilliant selection in who they're bringing in. And there's still no proof of it. Yeah, we know what he represents. What he represents is a method and a plan. And I guess what Man United are trying to do is buy in someone who represents the opposite of what people like Oli represented, and even like Mourinho before him, that it's about kind of raw emotion and bringing the best out of these players, from a kind of mindset point of view. Whereas Rangnick is, as I say, he's kind of about method. He's about setting up teams and having a definitive plan about the way he likes to play. But I guess the kind of opposition to that is, one, you're dealing with big personalities. You're dealing with Ronaldo, who doesn't press for a start. So that's going to be fascinating to see. Because then it's like, well, is he going to drop him? How much will he play under Rangnick? Or how does he manage the mentality of Ronaldo? And it's one of them that you feel like it could go either way. But I think it's just this thing of, the Man United have solved it now. I mean, that they haven't, have they? They definitely haven't yet. The proof will be in the pudding. The only example that I can think of recently of someone who's come in, because you got to look at Klopp when he came to Liverpool. It took Klopp a long time to get Liverpool into the position of like winning leagues and Champions Leagues. Yeah. A good 3 years. To get his team right, to get his philosophy right. The only person, I suppose, recently is Tuchel, who did it at Chelsea. But you could argue Chelsea's squad was far superior and kind of more balanced than, Man United's is.
Do you think Chelsea was, secretly letting Lampard buy people that Tuchel had said they could buy?
Oh.
Like, he was like, all right, you can get that Mendy. But really, they've gone Tuchel, we're going to bring you in.
I don't know. I think that's probably a bit harsh on Lampard. It seems like kind of Lampard knew what he was doing, but just didn't.
I'm just talking about the brutal efficiency of the Chelsea machine. The only thing that could be reassuring to Man United fans would be Guardiola, Klopp or Tuchel. That's the only thing you could say, well, that they have, other than Tuchel, I suppose he's won Champions League at Chelsea. They've all won things in the divisions that you're trying to win things in. Other than that, like Conte was an option, didn't take it.
No.
Should we talk about these arguments?
Yes, let's do
arguments. And I want to hear any observations from your breakdown that you're going to have to explain to me, a man who spent that time just living in a digital world, because I am a digital girl. So, like, the question we asked on social media was like about rows you've had over football and making it up at the end. The first one is from Frank Giffey on YouTube. Hello, Frank. He says, I fell out with my best friend once because we both wanted to pretend we were Paul Gascoigne. We walked all the way to the park, argued for about half an hour until he threatened to take his ball home. Eventually, I said dejectedly, I'll be Chris Waddle.
Oh, I'd be happy with Chris Waddle. I mean, Gaza was an absolute hero, no doubt about it.
It's good that you sort of know that you can't both be Gaza in a game, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Even in a game, thank you very much for these breakfasts. I thank the Lord.
Most of our comments now are about breakfast.
The breakfast. I've got to have some breakfasts. Because even in the fantasy world, there are rules.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the fantasy falls apart.
Yeah. Also, when you're playing football between you want to be commentating as you're playing, and no one wants to go, it's Gaza to Gaza. No one wants to do that because it doesn't exist in real life.
I don't like that.
No.
That's a parallel world. It's ruined everything.
Although you could do it with Adama Traore's. We've discovered already.
Although one of them mysteriously collapsed recently, so I wish him well.
Sure.
Let's wish him well.
Yeah.
So it'd be Adam Traore. Is he all right? The other one's doing pretty good. He's actually his arms are like legs. Look at him, greased up. Jen, he's your favourite, isn't he? Still?
Yeah, he's my favourite.
Adama.
Yep.
Or has the caravan of your objectification moved to another?
No, I haven't spotted anyone else.
Have you been looking for anyone else?
Do you keep track
No.
of Ben Foster?
No. He was on a YouTube video. I didn't click on it.
But you were somewhere in your mind.
I think
you
there was something.
acknowledged
I
it.
went, oh, that's Ben Foster.
Has he fallen down the league of handsome footballers?
No. I like Adame.
You'd like Adama, yeah.
He can run really fast.
Yeah, he can.
Like, you don't think he can run that fast, and he does.
What, because he's so muscly?
Yeah. And then you're like, wow,
He really does, doesn't he?
Yeah, but they have 100-metre bodies.
what?
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Sort of.
What do you mean?
Well, like a 100-metre sprinter, they're very muscular.
Yeah, their thighs are, yeah.
Jenny, you would have enjoyed looking at Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's thighs between Keane and Carragher. While those two,
No, I don't want to look at someone's thighs in a chair in a suit.
in what context will you open
running
the thigh?
around, because you're like, that's what they're made for. They're made for running around. So it's like, wow, they're doing their job really well.
You like to see the thighs in
Sat
action.
in a chair, they're not doing their job.
Oh, I see. So they've got to be efficiency. You've got to see some efficiency.
I'm impressed by
It's not just
how
casual
well.
objectification.
The objectification is actually a sort of a worship of the function
Of a
the
function.
thigh.
Yeah, that's more healthy, I imagine. Yeah.
It's more healthy, I suppose, in some ways.
Or would you prefer to look at it in a chair?
I'm just thinking about my own methods of objectification. Just running around. I like them in the chair
Yeah, I know.
because
I think Jen's right.
if you had gonna say you were
Gareth
gonna,
thinks I'm right.
Yeah.
well, I recognise and I respect Jen's view, but if you were to let's just name it. If you were to have sex with Adama Traore,
Yeah.
you don't want him running around.
No,
You
but
want
the
him in a
thighs are
chair.
useful. No, you don't. You want him using his thighs.
Well, hang on.
Well, I do want him to use his
I
don't-
thighs
no,
and his
what-
hips and his buttocks.
We're not talking about during the act of, though, are we? We're talking about in the lead up to. So maybe the runaround beforehand would
Yeah,
kind of
athleticism.
Adam.
would entice you to think, oh,
I don't
Run
want
around.
someone who's just sat and splayed in a chair.
yeah.
Splayed. Splayed, eh?
We've gone mucky on this show.
Yes.
And
Well,
that's because Russell hasn't watched the football, so we've gone all
what's
smutty.
next on the list? I've not watched any football. Default mode. Hitler. Sex. Yeah, that's what I've slipped into my default. So anyway, I'm the only one. I'm not objectifying anybody except maybe Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank a little bit.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I didn't objectify him. I just looked at him.
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean,
actually admired him. I thought, well done, Jimmy. Not
I
getting
did.
pulled into this
I
silliness.
did. Yeah, I was really imagining what it would be like to
be Jimmy
him.
Floyd. I was Jimmy Floyd in
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
obviously I can't be either of them because they're coming from a very passionate opinion about quite an esoteric subject. But I can be a man passively sat between like while that's everything. Oh God, I don't really want to be here anymore. And also, Jimmy Floyd would be wearing a mic that's probably tethered to the chair. I
Yeah.
reckon is what you've got at Sky. You ain't got like a mic pack on, so you can't just get on and go, do you know what? I'm not going to sit here while you two
But also,
spit.
I think what it said to me, it's that moment like over Christmas dinner or something where a row begins and then starts to escalate. And there are moments within it where people around you, some choose to kind of chime in and break up the argument, and some people just choose to let it go.
Yeah.
And that was one of them where neither Dave, what's his name, or Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank decided to step in. They just let it escalate. Obviously for kind of like entertainment purposes, one. But I think in the case of Hasselbank, he was just kind of a little bit embarrassed even.
I think the feng shui is what pinioned Hasselbank.
Right.
Because like he actually, where he was perfectly situated to referee it.
Yeah.
He was in the middle. He was actually perfectly positioned to be a mediator and say, look, Roy, I respect that you admire
Ronaldo.
Cristiano. And Jamie, you've got some good points as well. But what we can applaud is their willingness to talk about stuff in a sort of a pretty open way rather than the kind of
because that was
muted opinions you sometimes
I think,
get.
it gets levelled a lot at Keane that he's doing this for entertainment. That some of these things that he says it's not that they're not his thoughts, but that he amplifies his thoughts for the purposes of, Sky and stuff. Because he doesn't really get like that on ITV. When you see him on ITV, remember the last game he was doing the England game, and he was really complimentary of everyone. And I saw a few tweets of people going, "What's happened to Roy Keane? Is it when he shaves his beard he gets all nice?" But I don't think that is the case. I don't think there is an actual connection.
It's not a Samson issue.
No.
It's much more of a broadcast law.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But in the way that we were talking
It's
about
Ofcom.
the way we said about the BBC last week, always having to go, but the real story is Watford, rather than focus on, a meltdown at Man United.
Yeah.
They want to be balanced. You feel like even ITV has a bit of that to it, whereas Sky's just like, you just go for it. You give us all the entertainment you can. Roy, say whatever you want. Jamie, say whatever you want. And, I mean, it's effective.
I wonder how far they could go before anyone, like, if they actually began to touch each other aggressively, sort of push in.
Yeah. Who would step in that scenario?
You've got to be Jimmy Floyd.
You think the onus is not on Jimmy Floyd?
I
He's one of
say
the guests.
it's Jimmy Floyd's duty.
Would there be like a floor manager or something who would have to step in, or what would happen in that scenario?
Well, I think it's when Klopp and Arteta went out the other week.
Yeah.
It's like, who's got the authority to stop Klopp?
Yeah.
Nobody, except perhaps Rangnick can say, "Hey, I made you. I can destroy you."
Yeah.
Maybe Rangnick can swoop down as the sort of progenitor of the ideologies that Klopp espouses.
Yeah.
But if you've got Carragher and Keane going at it, hammer and tongs, 10 to the dozen, sweating in front of a fireplace, the two of them wrestling, you'd think that Carragher would win on bulk if it became a physical confrontation. But Keane has got such intensity.
But he's got menace about him, hasn't he?
Keane's menace. There's something in Keane that I very much admire.
How long do you think it took for that to... It was the moment where they go off air.
I reckon they'd be all right.
Immediately.
I reckon they'd be all right. I reckon they sort of go... exhale. And I think it's performative.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think he's sort of like... I don't think... like, say if in that moment a terrorist or even a nudist had burst into that room,
right.
I think they'd have stopped.
They wouldn't carry on the argument.
Excuse me, get this nudist out of here. No, listen, Ronaldo's earned his right. No, you can't carry him. What's the point? What's the point of buying him then? What's the point of buying him then? What about this nudist? I don't care. You'd have to...
Yeah.
You'd have to address the elephant in the room.
So a bit like a boxing match, maybe. Like, I'm always amazed at boxing matches, where they finish and they've just been like smacking each other around for 10 rounds, and then they're all nice with each other. Like, I always think that's an amazing thing. They congratulate. It is beautiful.
But it's because it's liminal and it's a managed space within this. That's why you're in this ring, in this time, in this ceremonial place. And perhaps all of life is like this, moment to moment. You accept the context that you're in. When I was talking to that neurologist the other week, she was saying, like, when you're paying attention to something, your consciousness, there's a network of neurons that are firing up. For the simplicity of dealing with me, she sort of called it flashlight network. And then, like, if you have to have a general awareness, you have like floodlight awareness. If you're sort of like, if you're arriving at a new place, I guess you sort of go, right, I've got to be aware of all this stuff. And then we have an executive capacity, what she called the juggler, that goes between the two of them. And what all human beings default to is something called this sort of selfish kind of network of like, we just start thinking about what you want, what you're doing tomorrow, what happened. Like, so if you meditate, you'll notice that what generally tends to happen is you start thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, what's that noise, like that. That's where you go to. And so you use the flashlight consciousness to sort of think of a mantra or to follow your breath. And eventually that you can, I believe, and she didn't say this, we're into Russell territory now, I believe you can bypass that default and access dormant networks of consciousness. So, but like she sort of said in there, like if someone else came in the room or if a fire alarm went off, she said, I would stop doing this podcast. And when she said that, I thought, that's the wrong attitude.
This is over.
We've got a 1 hour commitment here.
I need a better one next time. Who's in charge of bookings?
This woman, the first sign of fire, she's out the door. Remember, Jen? Amishi.
Yeah.
I need someone to prove that they would stay in a room while it was on fire.
Is that too much to ask of a podcast guest that they're willing to burn?
Not at all.
Just to finish an hour-long chat about... Anyway, so I feel like, you got to be able to switch levels.
Yeah. I'm sure they absolutely can. They know what they're doing.
Geraint James on Twitter, the big G-man, he says, I argued with a ref about being offside in a local match. And he said, your feet weren't offside, your belly was. I couldn't argue with that.
Wow. That's an insult.
Gary Stevens on YouTube. My brother is a United fan, and when I was 8, I wrote to Alex Ferguson to ask him to tell my brother to stop teasing me about supporting Newcastle. Ooh. My mum helped me post a letter, bless her. A few weeks later, I got a reply from someone at Man United, which read, we would love it if you would stop teasing your brother. Love it.
That's
so
amazing.
Cool.
That is amazing. There's no chance that happens these days.
That's really... but that in itself is actually teasing him. With the memory of Kevin Keegan's famous rant that we use sometimes.
That's jocular and fun, though.
It's nice. It's spirited.
nice.
It's friendly banter. It's not hate.
No.
Got it.
That's so brilliant. Do you reckon? I mean, I remember writing to a couple of clubs when I really started to get into football about the age of 12 after Italia 90. And started to write to, because I remember
What did you want?
I just wanted anything that they would give me.
Can I have some?
I would write to just clubs. I remember writing to Liverpool and a few others and just saying, you know,
Hello, my name is Gareth Roy.
Exactly, yeah.
Did you get anything?
Yes, people, they send you stuff. Like Liverpool sent some like memorabilia, some programs and stuff like that. And I think I've still got them. They meant a lot to me. I think Blackburn sent me like a medal or something like that. It was like really,
hell.
I know. It was really cool. I can't imagine.
Dear Liverpool, can we have Andy Robertson back?
Yeah, it was lovely actually. I thought, I mean, they've got me because I've still got affection for Liverpool as a result of that.
Well, I don't know that it's that sort of thing goes on in the world anymore, mate.
No, I don't think it
People
does.
writing little letters and stuff.
No, I don't think so. Now it's all done on the pitch with kids holding up signs to ask for shirts.
If I get a fan letter, I sort of think, what do you want? Like, I mean, actually, no, I get sincere things because people talk about sort of spirituality, talk about sort of politics and things like that. But if you get one of those, let me clarify, one of those letters where it's a photo and it says send this back, I sort of think, what for?
Right.
What's going on?
How about some Russell Brand merchandise that you
Let's do it.
that you could just send back? Anyone who writes gets like a key ring, something like that.
A Russell Brand keyring, bottle opener.
They'd love that. I don't think bottle openers probably.
We're not on brand. All right, what about, I don't know. We'll think of something.
We'll think of some stuff.
I'd love us to have cups.
You could have
Teacups.
I imagine teacup.
Because we're English, not mugs. Teacups. Whoa.
That'd be nice. But it probably costs quite a lot to send postage and packaging with that.
That's right.
You want something that's going to slip in an envelope, you know?
All right. We'll get a bookmark. We'll do something.
Bookmarks. That's on brand.
That's on brand. I love a book, don't I?
Yeah.
Ethan Paul on YouTube responded to our question about rows related to football. After a couple of beers, I got stopped by a policeman because I was weeing in a doorway. I like that he put the policeman first.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? He didn't see his act of weeing in the doorway as the inciting incident. He was just living his life, part of which was doing a wee in a doorway. And then the police come. I had my Arsenal shirt on. He flashed the Spurs tattoo on his arm.
Ooh.
Wow. And said I could either spend the night in the police cells or get on my knees and say, he said, say I love Harry Kane. And then he said, the breakfasts in prison are horrible. It's a joke, presumably.
Yeah, that's brilliant. But hang on, does he say what he did?
He's the breakfast in prison are horrible. He wouldn't do it. That's the payoff. That's the punchline.
Yeah.
But do you think the whole thing's a joke? Because would a policeman show you a policeman showing you a tattoo is menacing?
Yeah.
Like sort of saying, look, because I'll tell you why. Because it's like I've got an identity beyond being a policeman. You know, you know me as a lovable Bobby or even a menacing agent of the state. Yeah. But
this is my real allegiance.
Oh God, I'm scared now. You're another person. Yeah. That's why you don't like to hear that they're in the Ku Klux Klan. In America, racist South. You think, hold on, aren't you meant to be focusing?
Well, we're going to move on from this.
Fair enough.
So, what would you do in that scenario? What would you do? There's no way I'd spend a night in jail other than getting on my hands and saying,
some words.
I love Grimsby or Leeds or something.
I don't like the idea of being on my knees much.
No.
Like, that seems like a bit of a push. But I'll say words if I have to. I mean, look, in the digital world, I signed Declan Rice for Arsenal. Yeah. So what claims of loyalty can I really make? But I will say, if West Ham come in with a job offer for me, I will leave fictional Arsenal to go there. It's just that's part of the game. You wait to see which club it's going to be come in for you. Arsenal, great job. I'd be a fool not to take it.
Yeah.
I feel like, Rafa Benitez, isn't it? Like you feel like, oh no, it's disloyal.
Yeah.
Because it's not working there, is it, Rafa Benitez?
Working. They lost again.
They don't like that.
Some fans are talking about when he's going to be sacked, like imminently.
The next Saki.
Yeah.
Poor Rafa.
Yeah.
It's been, even in top flight football, it feels like it's been a merciless onslaught.
Yes, it does. This season, doesn't it? The last few weeks.
Yeah, because let's face it, it's enjoyable. The
it's
drama
really enjoyable.
Of sackings. You're like, oh my God.
It's so mad. Like, how long ago does Steve Bruce getting sacked feel now?
Probably only 4 weeks ago.
It feels
since
like
then.
years.
It's another world. He's already applied to he was tentatively offering himself as a solution for the chaos at Old Trafford, wasn't he, for a little moment? Think Tuesday. I once witnessed a scrap in a kebab shop. all I heard as the blows rained down was one of the fighters saying, "You'll win nothing with Pardew." As the blows rained down. I like as well, because it's funny, once a conflict has escalated into violence, clinging on to reason is amusing.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to, no! Like, oh, actually, I see what you're saying. You're right, Pardew is unproven, except he was good at West Ham.
Yeah.
Like, and where was he before Palace?
He did well at Newcastle for a time.
For a little moment. But then didn't he smack someone in the mouth or something mental?
It was the Hull incident with David Myler, wasn't it?
Tell me again.
Well, there was an incident whereby David Myler confronted Pardew.
Yes.
And then Pardew kind of stuck his head next to Myler's. And I think Pardew got fined or banned or something like that for that, of antagonising and I suppose aggressive or violent behaviour. Yeah.
Yeah, he used his head as a sort of a weapon.
Yeah.
Peter Winkle 99 on Instagram says, I was away with the mighty Watford at Charlton Athletic. The game got heated and I kept locking eyes with one Charlton fan. I'm not a violent guy, but for some reason I kept shouting, "I'll see you outside, mate." We were already sort of outside. But he would reply, "Come on then." After the game, I made my way to a quieter tube station and got on the tube and sat down right opposite this Charlton fan. We looked at each other, and after some unsure eye contact, we both just started pissing ourselves laughing.
Oh,
nice.
That's lovely.
You recognised it weren't real.
That's
There's no
lovely.
point arguing, just two people supporting football together. Nat Tooth on Instagram.
I hope they're still friends.
He says we're actually married now. We're married and we adopted a couple of little lads.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that. Nat Tooth, we had a standoff at our school between the rugby and the football team. Understandable.
Absolutely.
Which one is the true sport? We agreed to play against each other in both sports. Oh, this is good. This is a good film.
Yeah.
After a few hard-fought footy games, us football lads won 6-4. The rugby lads intimidated us for days about the rugby match. They ran out onto the pitch after school on a soaking night to find we had no intention of chasing eggs around a cold field and had all got the bus home.
Very good.
You tricked them. Victory was yours in a sense. You used a mind game. You level switched on them. That's pretty fantastic.
Lovely. More wonderful stories.
Thank you very much for contributing to Football is Nice. Gal, tell me then what your breakdown is before I start gloating about catching you up in the predictions league.
I know, you've done more than catch up. You've usurped me. There's no doubt about that.
I've predicted more correctly than thee. And I do try to go into a sort of a place of sort of calm meditation, such as I did when I was on that YouTube show where you have to eat spice, like hot wings.
Hot wings.
Like that, I thought...
that would be an awful one if it was that drug that people are doing these days.
You have to smoke spice, and I must say it's very disorienting. I could go into myself and I try to think, well, what actually is the result? I can't do it with West Ham because of the emotion.
I noticed that, but I think that's admirable. Personally, you won't bet on them losing.
I'm always going to say that West Ham are going to win.
Yeah.
But we can go into that predictions, but I would like to know what things you observed, knowing that you'll have to explain it to me.
Did you see any?
Nothing.
You didn't see.
I've been managing a pretend football team, laying in bed, sort of coughing.
So you didn't see any of the snow or anything other than the West Ham? No. So do you know that the Burnley Spurs
got played off? I saw that little P.
Yeah, it got postponed because of the snow. And Sean Dyche was out there in just a shirt when they were testing of is this going to go ahead or not? And there was tons of snow. It was bitterly cold. Sean Dyche is out there. It was in London. I think it must. I don't know actually.
It's pretty amazing that Sean Dyche, he was making his opinions clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it cold? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm naked.
Yeah, exactly. It was amazing. Just a shirt. And everyone else, concerned in that situation had coats and all the stuff on. And then Sean Dyche.
Those big long puffers.
Exactly. That all the managers wear now.
I want one.
Yeah. You should get one.
Do you want to get one?
Yeah.
Wear them together.
Yeah. But
like a shirt, as in shirt and tie shirt?
Shirt and tie, no jacket, nothing. And it was exactly that. It was I'm out here. Also, and I thought I love Sean Dyche. I think he's brilliant. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant manager. Does so well with so little resources. Keeps Burnley in the Premier League all the time. Doesn't matter what. I think he's amazing. He's also very funny. I think he's brilliant. I'm a big fan. But also, interestingly, after the Man City West Ham game, they interviewed Pep, and Pep was like, in these really difficult conditions that we've played in, and it's so tough, and the players are wonderful, and they're so amazing. And then Gundogan, they interviewed Gundogan, who scored the first goal and got man of the match, I think. And there was this amazing quote that the interviewer said, how tough was it out there? Because it was snowing and, I noticed it. And Gundogan goes, yes, at one point there was a snowflake that went into my eye. It was really tough. And I thought, that's not a thing. Like, I know he's German, but don't say the word snowflake and then, like...
Because that's literally how the term snowflake has been appropriated.
Exactly.
But to indicate delicacy and uniqueness, it went in my eye. Well, I actually... sometimes do that on purpose. It's a nice feeling.
It is a nice feeling.
On the tongue, I went out there with my little daughters, and neither of whom got man of the match. We went out there in that snow, we put our little faces up and we looked up, and one of them said, it feels like we're moving. It's nice, isn't it? It's beautiful snow. Still has the ability to engender magic, and that's what Nick said, but while also revealing that West Ham were down, and sort of made me commit to, I'm just distancing myself from football. I'm going immersing into the hibernation.
Well, it felt like Man City were moving because they were very fluid, I have to say.
Of course they are.
So they were pretty wonderful. But yeah, Gundogan made out that, I think he said every 3 seconds there was a snowflake in my eye, which I thought was a fantastic comment to make about how difficult the world of football is for these elite athletes. But then Moyes came out and I thought, yeah, nice one, Moyes. And I do think, look, I'm not want to get all kind of xenophobic foreigners or anything like that. Although it does sound a little bit like that's the route I'm going down. But both Dyche and Moyes, when Moyes was asked, should the game have been called off? Were the conditions too difficult? Moyes was like, no way, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with it. I thought it was fine. And I was like, yeah, good.
Didn't use it as an excuse.
No, good
we
old
had snowflakes in our eyes.
Exactly, good old,
proper
traditional
Scottish geezer.
Yeah.
He don't care.
He don't care. He's played in worse. He's seen worse.
You have to put a lot more than snow in Moyes' eyes
Yeah.
before he'd even consider postponing a fixture.
Yeah, I liked that. So I thought, the snow was interesting. The kind of reactions of the kind of modern day footballer versus the old school manager was very interesting. Other observations, so you didn't see the Chelsea Man United game. I mean, that was kind of fascinating from the point of view of I guess it was teed up to be like Chelsea thrashing United, and then the kind of opposite, well, not the opposite happened. Chelsea deserved still to win. They had lots more chances and stuff. But Man United, they kind of dug in there. They had the chance to win. You won't have seen it, but a ball came to Fred, probably the worst person that it can come to, where he attempted to lob the Chelsea keeper. And he basically passed it back to him. And it was like, if that had gone to anyone else. When that happened, I thought, God, Fred is actually a professional footballer. Like, he did what the equivalent of me and you would do. We'd try and shoot and it'd just
wouldn't
go
well
into the arms. But like, of all the worst things that could have happened, it went straight back to the keeper. And I thought, you are a professional. You should be able to shoot.
When Keane was saying... when he was saying, who do you want the ball to drop to?
Yeah.
I reckon the reason that image was in his head is because of that moment, because a ball had dropped to Fred, and he would have rather that ball had dropped to Ronaldo. Was Ronaldo on the pitch by that time then? Did he come off the bench?
No, I think he was. He came off the bench, I think he was by then. But it definitely went to the wrong person. That would have been amazing if Man United had got away with it and won that game. Because I know, Rangnick's meant to be taking over this week. He's got work permit issues, and so Carrick is continuing his managerial reign.
Do you think people are saying that he was choosing the team already anyway?
I don't know. I didn't hear that. I mean, Carrick said he definitely wasn't. And Carrick's done all right. He's done all right. United did press. They did look more organised under Carrick. I mean, that's probably just reaction.
You would be affected by stuff you saw on telly, wouldn't you?
You think you would?
Like if you keep watching everyone and they're going, they're not trying hard enough, you would think, I'm going to try a bit harder.
It's amazing how often that gets levelled at Man United, certainly has done this season, and yet doesn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. I was listening to Rashford get interviewed this week after the sacking of Ollie, and I think his basic point that he was trying to make was, Ollie turned it around for me at United. He basically came in and told us to express ourselves, which, is football speak for he let us do what we want. But what he said was, we didn't do any tactical training. And the setup was, we didn't do any tactical training because the emphasis was on, reclaiming our personality and making us all feel good about ourselves. But what he actually revealed was, we don't do any technical type of training at all.
That's an unbelievable revelation.
Yeah, I know. And it made you think, oh, well, yeah, that explains it then.
Is there anything, like, what about all those interviews where they were saying, Ollie, what can you say?
Yeah.
Like, he never at any point went, I don't know. maybe it's because we don't ever do any tactical training.
Yeah.
Maybe that's having some effect on the results.
Yeah.
Don't you think that someone within the infrastructural system of Manchester United should have at some point said, do you want to do some? You know how you're doing no tactical training?
Yeah.
Do you want to do some? And maybe even a lot.
A lot, yeah. I know it makes you wonder about the kind of setup of that club and like what's the gap between the commercial arm of it and the like football side of it. And if the commercial arm is going well, how much noise do they hear? You know, even if they're losing games. I mean, obviously, eventually it did end up with him getting the sack. It got
Well, you
so
know how
bad.
you can have like Tupac still number one, even though he's dead.
Yeah.
Some say, like you could have that Manchester United.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even bother playing football anymore. Don't even bother with it.
Yeah.
Like we'll just sell those T-shirts and bedspreads and
Yeah.
lunchboxes and that. You don't have to play. You're not trying anyway.
Yeah. We could just represent football in some way, like just play old videos.
Yeah, there you go. We used to do that.
Yeah.
We don't do it too much. It's too hard. They keep bringing these Germans over here that are really concentrating on doing it well. And I've found it's depressing. You go out there. Like, and also express yourself. Why not let them like drink and smoke and do what they like?
Right.
I mean, that's a very regressive step.
Yeah, where does that end? What are the boundaries to that?
Like it ends with a lot of like fat lads wandering around out there, not knowing what they're doing.
Wasn't there that thing that when Ronaldo joined, like the rest of them stopped eating dessert at lunch?
Because they saw Ronaldo wouldn't have no.
Yeah, because
dessert.
they saw Ronaldo didn't touch the dessert table. But then again, what that reveals is there's a dessert table at the Man
You
United
don't want a
training
dessert
ground.
table. Like a trolley, like in a restaurant with trifles on it and a gatto.
Yeah.
No, lads.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Django?
You've less than 10 minutes.
Oh, hang on, a few more things. 'Cause we haven't talked about that many games.
Go on, tell me everything you know, Gal. Everything.
Ivan Toney, who we call
Yeah.
Lukaku. There we go. I was just lining you up there. Lukaku.
Yeah, Lukaku.
So Ivan Toney scored for Brentford,
Well
which
done.
your dad will be happy about. Beating Everton 1-0. First goal that he scored at home this season, so obviously be happy about that. So it was a penalty. Very cool. No.
I can't stay away from these goddamn breakfasts.
Oh no! You've done so well. You've
I'm
got
having some.
You've got 10 minutes.
I love it. I love breakfast.
Couldn't hold off for
Freedom.
10 minutes. Look
Freedom.
at him shoveling,
I'm expressing myself.
shoveling posh porridge into his mouth.
Damn you, Rangnick. Come back, Ollie. I'm expressing myself. There's bits in it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think I'd get to the point of like taking away breakfasts from Russell, but I'm nearly there.
You're the new Rangnick. Taking away our breakfast and our ketchup.
What about our reviews?
All right. Why don't you read
No,
them?
what I meant was,
You're right.
what
Oh.
about our reviews about your
Yeah,
breakfast?
but also you could read some too.
Do you want me to read some reviews while you're...
Yeah.
Yeah. Who picks them?
So I'll finish...
I pick them.
Oh, that's why they've got nice things about you in
No,
them.
just there's so many nice things about me.
Well, of course. So I'll just finish. Ivan Toney, and I love it when this happens. I don't know why, and I guess it says a lot about me and probably my ties to my family. But I like it when football players talk about their families and specifically their mums. Which does happen sometimes, doesn't it? Players, I remember Andros Townsend at the start of the season said, "Oh, my mum was saying do this and that, and I followed her, and she said take more shots, and I did that." I thought, oh, it's so sweet.
Take more shots, Andros.
I think she sent him a compilation of his goals or something. That was very sweet. But Ivan Toney said his mum can't watch his penalties. Like she turns away every time he takes a penalty. So like he talked about his mum afterwards and was like, "Oh, my mum will be happy. She can't watch them, but she'll be happy I scored." I was like, "Oh, that's nice."
I just can't imagine the intent. Like it's intense enough to watch a penalty as a fan.
Unbelievable.
To watch a penalty and it's your child
Yes.
taking a penalty. I went to see a nativity play this week. I spent the whole time looking away.
Nervous wreck.
I was ruined.
Who was in it and what were they? What was
it's
their
different
role?
now, Gal.
Oh.
Like Peggy thinks she's a shepherd's pie. They just like they sit in it. There's
Vegan,
a lot
I hope.
there's a lot of suggestions that I've got to make about how we can improve the nativity,
Right.
and that's not to criticise the good work they're doing at the school.
Of course not.
What I would say though is I would like a lot more drama and a lot more heart and a lot less singing and all this.
You should direct them.
If they want me, I'm available. I'll go in there, and it will be no Ollie. It will be Rangnick. No more of this childish crying. No, because they also, because they're children, I suppose, and they're still sort of trying to tell the nativity story.
Yeah.
You know. But they're focusing a lot on the donkey, who is characterised in this version as he's even given a name, Grumble. And then there's a song, poor old Grumble, there's a long, long way to go. Poor old Grumble, he's got a very heavy load, which, by the way, is the mother of God.
Yeah.
His feet are sore, the doors, no, here he moans. Poor old Grumble, there's a long, long way to go.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You're not happy
But
with
that's
that?
not the right focus.
Right.
Grumble... I don't believe it's his real name, given it's not an Aramaic word.
Not in the Bible?
I bet they didn't even name donkeys in them days.
Right.
They ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
You're on a consensus, of which there's no historical record that such a consensus ever took place, meaning that Mary and Joseph had to go to where? Jerusalem. Didn't happen. Nazareth, sweet lady Nazareth. I mean, because if you watch the film Nativity, starring Martin Freeman and who's
Kevin and Stacey woman, was that her?
No, man,
that's Love
it's
Actually.
that dude
I've never
who
seen it.
plays a lot of characters and who's like Mark Wootton.
Oh, Mark Wootton. Okay.
Oh my god, that Nativity
Is it good?
is fantastic. That's 5 stars. Mark Wootton is
enough
amazing.
time to talk about Nativity.
And
the
Martin
film.
Freeman, so like I recommend you should watch it. It's like make you cry because Martin Freeman's a supernaturalistic actor. So when he's talking to kids, he's like, "Listen, I think you're a good kid. Like, so why are you doing this sort of stuff?" Right. So he's really good. Mark Wootton is amazing in it. So funny, you'll love it. It's proper warm and hilarious and beautiful. I cried about 3 times. That's what I was watching. I think instead of Chelsea United, I couldn't and I was left on my own at that bit. I don't know. The girls stayed at their grandparents. I just was on my own. I couldn't face football for some reason. I don't know what happened to me, mate. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so like that's good. And also then they go on about the sheep as well. Like they like.
But isn't this? This would be my guess.
Yeah.
For kids of that age, and actually me at my age, like I'm more interested in the donkey. First of all, the donkey's got kind of comedic connotations, so I'm immediately thinking there's potential for something funny happening with the donkey. He's got a name like Grumble. That's quite humorous and that. The actual stuff in the Nativity is a bit boring, let's be honest. So I'm looking for... It's a bit like...
Jesus and the kings and everyone.
It's boring. All I want...
Star above Bethlehem.
Boring.
That's a magical event.
Even those gifts that they brought.
Yeah, who wants myrrh?
What's myrrh? What even is that? Like, no, like what's in it? I want...
Myrrh, it's a balm, isn't it?
Gold chocolate coins, I think, should be one of them. You know, for kids, I mean. I don't mean in the actual Bible. I'm not talking about changing the Bible.
You mustn't do that, Gal. It's never worked when people have done it.
No.
I think you should get back to football.
Yeah, we should, Jen. We should. But anyway, Ivan Toney's mum doesn't watch him take penalties. What else? James Maddison came out for his interviews in a suit. Like like players just like wear training tops or whatever else. He'd gone out and put like a suit as if you're going to a nightclub suit, not a kind of...
Is there a tie?
There was a tie. Yes, there was a tie.
He wouldn't go to a nightclub in a tie, would he, James Maddison?
Was there a tie now? I can't even remember.
When you say nightclub, do you mean there was a gloss on it? Was there a shine? Was it reflective?
Yes,
was there glittery bits?
There was a bit of a gloss. He had his collars up, which he said afterwards, "Oh, no one told me my collar's up," but I thought, I think you knew your collars were up. And it looked like a little bit like that Tarantino film, Reservoir Dogs, that kind of thing. It was like he'd come back.
Did Leicester play on Saturday or Sunday?
Leicester played on, I can't remember.
Maybe Saturday he was
Leicester
going out.
played on Sunday. Sunday night.
You don't go out on a Sunday
You're
night,
not
do
going
you?
out on Sunday night. No.
Like the Arsenal Tuesday Club, where they stay out for 24 hours, smashing themselves to bits.
Apparently, Ian Wright said he was the designated driver for that Tuesday Club. Which I thought was very good. There was a bit with the snow again where the commentator went a bit political and said, because they all came out to blow the snow off. This is what they do now. They don't just use shovels. They use like leaf blowers.
Why?
Well, I guess it's quicker and maybe slightly more effective, or the combination
doesn't damage the grass somehow.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. And
what does it look like?
The comment. It looks pretty good actually. They cleared that.
Would you like to do it?
Yeah, I would.
Right.
I've wanted a leaf blower for a while, actually. I mean, I've got a very small backyard and not enough leaves to suffice.
Could you do it for McDonald's straw?
Yes. Yeah, I probably could. But I still want one because they look a lot of fun. Anyway, the commentator said, here's the groundsman with these blowers, that you'll see a lot of rich folk have these for blowing away all the leaves in their huge grounds and gardens. I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice there.
Wow.
Rich folk.
Where's he going with this
Yeah.
guy? That's an interesting thing to express on Match of the Day.
Isn't it? Sometimes they do stuff like that.
Like suddenly, what happens is it just leaks out of them. A bit of their political.
A little bit like what we said about the Newcastle commentary last week, where he was talking about Eddie Howe's hotel room jumping around and reverberating.
In the back of his mind.
He was thinking sex in a hotel room.
Sexual imagery is just bursting forth from the unconscious.
Yeah. Anyway, look, there aren't all that many, and I'm gonna. You haven't
There's some
seen
great
any
observations.
of these games.
We should do the fixtures. Results.
Well, the results of this,
You had a
To go
fantastic
through with
week.
the points that Gareth got, he doesn't know what he got.
Gareth, this is the results, right? Now, Jenny May Finn got 3 points for correctly predicting Arsenal-Newcastle 2-0. That's a highlight. I correctly predicted Villa Palace, a 2-1 away win.
Yep.
3 points for old Rusty. You said 2-2, incorrectly, Gal. Jen said 1-0, incorrectly, because I correctly predicted it. Liverpool versus Southampton. I correctly predicted that Liverpool would beat Southampton 4-0. You said 2-0, Gal. That ain't right. Jengo said 3-1. Also not right. Oh, Russ, right. 4-0. Elsewhere in the results, there's you got a point for predicting that Brighton and Leeds would be a draw. It was 0-0. You predicted it would be 1-0. I got a point for predicting that Brentford would beat Everton, even though it was 1-0, not 2-0. Burnley Spurs, I predicted an away win.
Well, there was no result.
Oh, and they didn't play. I predicted that it would snow and that Sean Dyche would come out in a shirt. I predicted leaf blowers would be used and that the commentator would make an inappropriate class-oriented remark.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, that's fine. You know
That's
what?
the illness. I'm dying.
That is not the illness. That is the breakfast.
That's
you
some
think I'm-
porridge.
It's
Some
that was a
phlegmy porridge.
Gulp.
It was look. The record will show that there was a cough. It's a miracle I'm alive and working. Is what it
What are
is.
the total points?
Hold on a sec. Leicester. Now listen. I predicted the right result for Leicester, as did you, Gal. But none of us got it right. 100% right. We just predicted Leicester would beat Watford. None of us predicted it would be 4-2.
Exact result. Yeah.
Jenny, you did, so like me and Jen both got at least one exactly right. You, Gal, got 1, 2, 3, 4 results. I got 4 results. Jen got 4 results. In fact, between us, we predicted correctly the outcome of everything.
That's amazing. It's pretty good going, that.
That is pretty good going.
Well done, team.
And actually 3 results 100% correctly. So our collective mind, when it comes to this aspect of the show.
You wouldn't guess it from today, but
Not from
What were the
content.
points though for each round? What?
So, darling,
league table.
As
Come on,
in,
let's
like,
get to the.
How many points did Gareth get in that round?
Gareth in that round got
I'd say 3,
4.
maybe 4.
And I got 6, 7, 8. And you got, Jengo, 6. So now it's me and Gareth are tied at the top of the league, each with 50 points. And Jenny is a mere 9 points behind, even though she didn't play the first 2 rounds. So Jen really would be winning just based on aggregating the points.
Yeah. I'm
good.
unsure of these point totals.
What do you mean? Well, you're disputing the whole mechanic.
I am. So the last 2 sets, right? I listened to 2 weeks ago, and Russell said, "I'm only 3 points behind you now, Gareth."
Yeah.
The one after that,
But it shows the week before on that page too, doesn't
the
it?
one after that, Russell said I'd got 6 points and he'd got 3, so that would put me 6 points ahead.
Yeah, but are you going just because what you guys say isn't what's on the page? Sometimes
you
people
think
mistake.
Russell said it wrong?
Maybe.
It's happened before.
I still think I'm 2 points ahead, but look, I'm gonna,
You
know.
thought he was ahead of you now.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We're both on 50. But Gareth, you've got the incumbency principle. You've been declared first, even though we're on the same points.
Oh,
Why
so
is Gareth listed as first when I could just as
his
easily
name
be
begins
listed
with G.
first?
So we're joint top.
The alphabet. And
We're
you're
joint top.
third.
Well, we'll have to.
I would have been second then.
We should start doing goal difference.
Yeah, what's goal? The goal difference. So in the event of a tie, the person that's corrected the most 100% correct result should win. That's me.
Great. That's great. Yeah.
You like the rule.
Yeah.
All right, so look, there's next week's West Ham have got Chelsea. Bloody hell! we'll do this. We'll do them off air, the prediction, shall we?
Yeah, let's do them
It
off
works
air.
better rather than listening to us go through this. But what about if I do a review? Didn't someone? Ain't you got a
sign
review?
off on a review.
There you go.
Listen, why don't you review the show? Come and see me do live stand-up. There's a wonderful weekly cuddle is the title of this, and it's from Matty231234. I'm training to be a psychotherapist. It's a really hard course. I love to drive to see friends or go hiking on a weekend to try and chill. And this podcast is the perfect ear accompaniment. He didn't say that. I just put the word ear there from my own mind, Gal. That's got to be an illness. I'm here for JMF's sultry Irish tones, like ASMR whispers in the ear, and Gareth's friendly and intelligent perspectives, and Russell's poetic, silly and wonderful insights. What a show. Thank you.
It's very nice.
Get in touch with us. You can have free tickets to come see me in any venue as long as it's Hull.
Hang on.
What?
Especially if it's Hull.
You can only come Hull. No, you can come wherever you want. Get in touch with us. You can email hello@russellbrand. Put football is nice in the title. And don't anyone else do it, because that's lying. I'm trusting you. I am trusting you. Right, I'll give you a special code. This is just for you, Matty231234. The code is Russell's the best. Now, none of the rest of you use that special code. Right, makes my commute. This person is called Hanj12671. Russ, Gareth and Jenny, love the pod. Always listen on my cycle from New Cross to central London. Gareth, if you ever spot a man with an orange backpack cycling gleeful towards Old Kent Road, run, because I love you and I mean to maketh you mine. Now it just says you and Russell are in my ear holes, keeping me going.
Oh, I hope I see that. So what does he look like?
He's got an orange backpack on and he's cycling gleefully up the Old Kent Road. You want us to finish the list, yeah?
That's not easy, is it?
Nice chemistry between the three hosts. Classic sprinkling of brand and a lighter weekly look at our...
A classic sprinkling of brand. I love that. Like, there's a thing that exists that is, of course, the classic brand sprinkling.
I love a little sprinkle. All right, well, that seems to be as much podcast as we're doing today. And we're going to have 4 weeks off over Christmas. We're going to have to.
Say it ain't so.
4 weeks off over a rich football period, unless me and you call each other.
Imagine it.
I call you from the holiday. Go, I need a podcast, man. I'm freaking out on this holiday.
Yeah, could you do a podcast made up of voice notes? Could that exist?
Of course it could. A voice note podcast. I love it. I'm in. Let's go. Well, thank you for joining me and my associates here. Friend is a strong word. No, my friends for the podcast Football is Nice. Football is nice?
It is.